These are the most relevant news or gossip about what happened during the month in the world of anime, manga Japan, or the otaku community. It seems that Japanese video game developers are having a serious problem receiving the money they earn on Steam. This week it came to light that several banks in Japan have started blocking the transfer of funds coming from overseas, specifically from Steam, which has generated quite a stir in the community. Politician Taro Yamada, a member of the House of Representatives, came out about the issue on his Twitter account, explaining that many creators have tried to transfer their earnings from Steam's US bank to their accounts in Japan, but the banks simply refuse them payments. Both Japan's Financial Services Agency and the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry have already confirmed that this problem is real. According to the FSA, the reason is not just because the revenue comes from video games. They say it is a comprehensive decision based on various laws, such as the law for the prevention of the transfer of proceeds of crime and the foreign trade and foreign exchange law. However, Yamada is not convinced and questions that, if the transactions are legal and transparent, they should not be blocked without good reason. The politician is already in talks with both agencies to try to fix the situation. However, this is not the first time he has interceded in problems like this. In December last year, he also denounced the suspension of Visa card payments at Elun, a dating site for otaku. In addition, similar cases have been seen lately where international payment processors, especially Visa and Mastercard, have made sudden decisions affecting developers of video games, manga, and fan art sites. Bad news for consumers of anime, series, or movies via piracy services emerged this weekend. It turns out that the US government is pushing a bill that could block access to piracy sites from the country. The so-called Foreign Anti-Digital Piracy Act, FATPA, introduced January 29 by Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, will allow courts to order companies like Google, Cloudflare, Comcast, and AT&T to immediately block illegal streaming and piracy sites, protecting entertainment giants like Netflix, Disney, Amazon, Sony, and Warner Bros. Discovery, who have been lobbying for stricter anti-piracy measures. But how would this blocking work? If the law is passed, copyright owners will be able to ask a judge to order the immediate blocking of a piracy site. Defendants will have 30 days to defend themselves, but if they do not respond, the court will give the green light to the restriction. You've worked for months, even years, to create an anime you really love, and suddenly the producer of your project takes all the money intended to make it happen. Well, that's what happened to Saya Fukase, director and representative of UWAN Pictures, the studio behind the anime Aya na Kao Ser Negara o Pansumazit Maratai, better known as Ayapan, a series popular for its ecchi comedy. What's worse is that not only did he lose money, but he had to come out of his own pocket to keep the project from falling apart. The story begins in 2019, when producer S, whose full name was not revealed for legal reasons, was in charge of managing the production of the anime's second season. As told in an interview with Shimahara, the creator of the original manga, producer S took more than 5 million yen that was part of the funds needed to continue the series. Despite receiving a large portion of the money, producer S never made good on their part, leaving them without resources. The money had already been paid to the animators and production team, so we were on the verge of bankruptcy, Fukase recalled. Despite this theft, the team managed to finish the season and deliver the final product. But as if that wasn't enough, producer S, after receiving the finished material, rejected the work, claiming that there were mistakes that needed corrections, even though the anime was already being broadcast and sold. Fukase continued, producer S started saying that he didn't consider it delivered because more corrections needed to be made, and that he didn't plan to pay the remaining money. It was crazy. The studio, with no money, and the producer playing games with them, had to resort to desperate methods to complete the season. Fukase explained how the production of the last part of the second season was self-financed, meaning they paid out of their own pockets so as not to let the fans down. In fact, the team even tried to contact the investors, Torinoana, but were met with an even more surreal situation when, after notifying them that producer S had not delivered the money, they revealed to them that the Blu-ray was already made and for sale. The struggle did not end there. Despite evidence that producer S had received the final product and attempts to resolve the situation legally, Fukase and Shimahara were forced into a court battle. Unfortunately, what seemed like an easy resolution in the studio's favor did not mean they got the money. Fukase recounted that even after winning the lawsuit, producer S never appeared in court and resulted in a victory without any compensation, as the money was simply not available. Publisher Shueisha has had enough of piracy and is now taking serious action against some of the larger sites that illegally upload One Piece and other manga. The publisher filed a subpoena against Cloudflare this week, seeking to get information on the administrators of 6 pirate manga sites. The largest site on Shueisha's blacklist is ChapmanGianado.to, which in December 2024 had more than 65.2 million hits. Other sites now in trouble include Chapman Ganelo, 24 million hits, Magnacocolit, 20.4 million, Manganello, 18.1 million, MKKLCDND 6 Temp, 23.4 thousand hits. The publisher wants Cloudflare to give them as much information as possible about the administrators of these sites, addresses, phone numbers, emails, billing data, IP addresses, basically their digital identity that will help them find them physically. This is not the first time these sites have been targeted. Shueisha and Viz Media already tried something similar in 2022, searching for Manganello and Manganado information through companies like PayPal, Visa, and Google. They discovered that these sites were connected to telecommunications companies in Vietnam, but were unable to access further details due to legal restrictions. Just 2 weeks ago, Shueisha also filed another subpoena against Cloudflare with the intention of taking down 19 piracy sites totaling 560 million hits per month. Crunchyroll, the anime streaming platform, is in the eye of the storm after being accused of mistreating and firing an employee who was dealing with mental health issues. Sean Hoffman, a former senior software engineer at the company, told LinkedIn that instead of receiving support when he needed it most, he was isolated, insulted, and ultimately fired. According to Hoffman, 2024 was the most difficult year of his life after his mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer. In the midst of this situation, he shared with the company that he suffered from anxiety and major depression, but instead of support, he was met with an increasingly hostile environment. He recounted that one manager went so far as to insult him and make an obscene gesture. Despite reporting what happened, no action was taken against the perpetrator, and he began to notice retaliation that was subtle at first, but increasingly obvious. Hoffman later sought counseling under the Americans with Disabilities Act (ADA), but instead of helping him, Crunchyroll ended up firing him for allegedly violating policy. According to his account, he was even offered money in exchange for not going public with his story. Several media outlets have tried to contact Crunchyroll to get their side of the story, but so far, the company has not responded. Hoffman's case is not the only one. In October 2024, voice actor David Wald alleged that Crunchyroll went through and distributed his fan mail, i.e., gifts sent to him by his fans, without his consent. In response, Wald severed all relations with the company, while Crunchyroll said it would investigate the matter, but to date has not shared any results. In addition, a Bloomberg report revealed that morale within the company is at rock bottom. Current and former employees described executives as disengaged and cited several rounds of layoffs. There is also talk of internal tensions following the merger with Funimation, something a company vice president recently acknowledged when she said they are still trying to unite teams with different philosophies. Will the company respond or continue to remain silent? Spending over $400 on a life-size Gardevoir plush toy is definitely something worth bragging about. That's what's been happening recently on social media in Japan, where Pokemon fans have been sharing photos of their new acquisition and, as expected, have sparked all kinds of reactions. The plush toy measures approximately 170 centimeters, slightly more than the 160 centimeters originally announced, and, although it can't stand up, it can sit down. The reason? He has a surprisingly large butt. As one user explained on social media, my life-size Gardevoir has arrived. I can see why just having him at home will improve my quality of life. The skirt is quite long, so I think the actual height is around 170 centimeters. Also, he can't stand on his own, but he can sit, which explains why his butt is so huge. This is a big booty Gardevoir. A report about the upcoming episode of the variety show Shinkansen Irasai revealed that it will cover the story of a man who fell in love with his classmate's mother and ended up marrying her. That's right, the protagonist couple of this story lives in Shizuoka Prefecture, with an age difference of 21 years. He is 32, she is 53, and, to make everything even more soap opera-like, she is the mother of his former schoolmate. How did it all start? Technically they met on a parent's visit from school, but the love affair came several years later, when they met again and he felt that her pheromones got to him. From there, a courtship worthy of a romantic manga began, or rather one for adults. The guy didn't beat around the bush. He invited her to lunch through his daughter, yes, his former classmate, and in the middle of dinner he blurted out, "I'm in in love with you, let's be a couple. A new report from Bloomberg has brought to light a mystery that has been haunting Dandadan fans. Why did Crunchyroll virtually ignore the anime even though it was a smash hit? With such potential, it stood to reason that Crunchyroll, the anime giant, was going to cash in on the hype. But no, they almost didn't promote it. According to a leaked internal email, Crunchyroll's senior vice president Marcus Girdman told his team to avoid making too much noise about Dandadan. The reason? Ongoing discussions about acquisitions. What does that mean? No one knows for sure, but everything points to the fact that there were behind-the-scenes negotiations that made Crunchyroll decide not to bet heavily on the series. If this already sounds weird, the worst thing is that Crunchyroll stopped talking about Dandadan since mid-October, shortly after its premiere. During its entire broadcast, there was not a single post on social networks, as if the anime did not exist. They only mentioned it again on December 21st, when the series ended and the second season was announced. If this were an isolated case, maybe no one would say anything. But the truth is that Crunchyroll has screwed up before with their marketing. For example, at San Diego Comic-Con, they hosted a special One Piece concert, and the idea was to have the series ship sail across San Diego Bay. Sounds epic, right? Well, it wasn't, because they forgot to light it properly and most people couldn't even see it. After 9 months of blocking, Niconico, the popular video platform considered as the YouTube of Japan, is back to accepting Visa card payments. But this comeback has not come for free. The platform had to do a massive cleanup of its adult content to get back on good terms with the payment company. Visa stopped working on Niconico on May 10, 2024, joining other companies such as Mastercard, which blocked payments in November 2023, and American Express in March 2024. Although no official reason was ever given, everything points to the presence of erotic content on the platform being the problem. Visa Japan's own CEO, Saiten Kitney, made it clear in December 2024 that restricting payments on platforms with adult content is a strategy to protect the brand. This has generated quite a bit of controversy, as it implies that credit card operators have the power to decide what kind of content is acceptable on the internet, even beyond what governments themselves have the ability to regulate. In an attempt to calm the situation, Niconico updated its rules in October 2024 and began deleting content that could be problematic by international standards. In January 2025, it removed around 50,000 videos and completely shut down its erotic manga platform, Niconico Shunga. It also changed the name of its R18 category to something more ambiguous to make it harder for search engines to find. The result, Visa is back, but users are far from happy. Many believe that Niconico has sold out to the credit card companies, sacrificing its adult content just to regain a form of payment. And the problem is bigger. It has become clear that these companies have the ability to influence the creative industry and, with a simple block, decide what is right and wrong to publish on the internet. And considering that Visa and Mastercard have almost the entire credit card market worldwide, the Japanese companies cannot refuse. A woman appeared on Reddit to open an interesting debate among One Piece fans by confessing that she started watching the anime for her husband, but after 100 episodes, she just doesn't want to continue. And now she doesn't know how to tell him this without breaking his heart. In her post, she explained, "My husband loves One Piece. He has a tattoo all over his leg in honor of the series. To him, it's the greatest story ever told. It never caught my attention because of its style, length, and content, but after much insistence, I agreed to give it a chance. I've already watched 100 episodes and I can't get hooked. I'm not interested in the fights and I feel that the story moves extremely slow. My husband is watching it with me and he understands my reasons, but he assures me that it gets better and that the story is amazing. The problem is that I've gotten to this point and I feel like I'm never going to like it. If I tell him I don't want to continue, I know it will hurt. Should I give it more time? Or do you have any advice on how to soften the blow?" These were the most relevant news of the month. Thanks for watching until the end. Don't forget to check the other videos of the channel. Until next time.